is something that is coming from someone that has knowledge of taking what is authentic and not what is authentic. But I'm an individual, anytime you turn around, they will send you something, warn them. If they send you things that have no authenticity in it, warn them. Listen, just send me some dunyawi matters. Don't send me no deen issue. Because perhaps the dunyawi matters you can benefit. But the deen matters, they will corrupt you. Wal-iyadhu billah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Now the issue, alhamdulillah, we wanted to deal lastly is pertaining to those who owe days in Ramadan until that there is a next Ramadan coming up. Tayyib, then what is it for them? Those who owe days in Ramadan, and as alhamdulillah we were advising our sisters, our wives and daughters to alhamdulillah be diligent about paying their days, making up their days that they miss in the last Ramadan. But ala kullin, that our mother Aisha radiyallahu anha used to say that I used to have days that I could not make up except in the month of Sha'ban. Except in the month of Sha'ban. To observe the duties with the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that shows, barakallahu fikum, that there were times where our mother Aisha radiyallahu anha, she will have some days of the last Ramadan that she will not be able to bring back until Sha'ban, and she will make them up. But now what happens if a woman or a person owe some days in the last Ramadan until barakallahu fikum, let's say 2 Ramadan ago she owed days until now. Now it's almost the month of Ramadan. Now what, barakallahu fikum, is the situation in paying those days? Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan hafidhahullah in Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqh, he mentioned in regard to making up those missed days of Ramadan until the following Ramadan begins. He said one is to observe fasting of the present Ramadan. Now you have days that you owe last Ramadan until another Ramadan is here. Now if my wife, my daughter or my mother or my auntie is in that situation, tayyib, what should we tell her? Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan hafidhahullah say that person has to be fasting this month of Ramadan that is in. Has to be fasting this month of Ramadan that is in. She could not have a dual intention. Let's say fasting one day for 2. Okay, I missed 5 days last Ramadan, and now we are in this Ramadan 1437, 1438, right? 1438. Now what I will do is I will just have intention for 1437 and 1438. La. And one cannot, barakallahu fikum, with one intention combine two acts that have the same level. One cannot take one intention for two actions that have the same level. You cannot say, I miss Asr, I miss Dhuhr, I'm praying Asr right now, so I'm just with this Salatul Asr, I intend at the same time Salatul Dhuhr with it. Allah. Right? So he mentioned that one is to be fasting, one is to observe the fasting of the present Ramadan, and to make up for the missed days afterwards. To make up the missed days afterwards. So she will have to deal with this month of Ramadan. Or the person has to deal with this month of Ramadan that we're in. And after the month of Ramadan, she will or he will deal with whatever happened for 1437, meaning the last year. Now, if it is a person that had a valid excuse for not fasting until the month of Ramadan is in, that's the issue we're going to deal with first. Or is it a person that did not have no udhr, no excuse? She or he was very negligent until the month of Ramadan come, and he still owes some days in the past Ramadan. So the first situation where the person was has a valid excuse for not making up the day. Right? The second situation is a person did not have no valid excuse. She or he was just doing whatever they wanted to do until the month of Ramadan, the new month of Ramadan came in. Shaykh Fawdan Hafidhahullah, he say, as for a person who delay making up for such unperformed fasting due to a legal excuse, he say that prevented him from doing so, he does not have to do anything except making up for those days. Ismail. He doesn't have none to do except to make up those days. Meaning a person that has a valid excuse. He didn't fast 3 days last Ramadan. Tayyib. He didn't fast 3 days last Ramadan until, let's say, the Ramadan is in few days. Tayyib. So therefore, when that Ramadan finishes, that he will have to fast those 3 days that he missed in the previous Ramadan, but he will not have to do no expiation. He will not have to do no kafara on this. No expiation in this. So this is the situation of a person that delay his fasting because of a udhr, because of a valid shar'i udhr, because of a valid shar'i reason. Not someone that is neglectable, negligent. Someone that is very negligent, or someone that was lackadaisical in regard to that issue. So he will not have to do anything but to make up the days that they have missed. No expiation. The Shaykh Hafidhahullah said, yet if a person has delayed making up for fasting for no legal excuse, if the person delay making up the days for no legal excuses, he doesn't have no valid excuse for delaying making up 3 days that she owe or he owed 2 years ago or a year ago. Now he is to be making up the missed days in addition to the feeding of a poor person for each day that he has missed. So the person that delay making up few days of Ramadan a year ago until there is a new month that we're in, so he will fast this month. But after the month finish, that he will take care of those days that he missed from the previous year. And for every single day that he missed, he will make it up. And along with that, he will have to do expiation. And that expiation, barakallahu fikum, is to be feeding for every day he missed or every day he make up, he will feed a poor person with the same quantity of food that is, as we described from the hadith of Aba Munira. From the same quantity of food he will have to feed a poor person, from the same quantity of food as we mentioned from the narration of Akhta'ta, Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu wa arda. How did Anas feed the poor person? Abu Bakr, how did Anas feed the poor person? How did he feed it? How did he fed the poor person? How did Anas fed the poor person? How did Anas fed the poor person when he could not fast? How did he fed them? Or how did he feed them? How did Anas feed the poor people? Hassan. Uthman. How did Anas? Tunkara. Abdul Shakur. Baka. Muhammad. Adam. We passed this. We read this. Ustaz. How did Anas, how did he feed the poor people for those days that he didn't fast? Good job. He got it. How did Anas, Abu Bakr? How did he, Abu Muhsin? Huh? Right, until they feel? Yes. How? Ismail? He called all of them in a single, he fed them in one single meal. All of them. He fed all of them in one single meal. He called all of them and fed all of them in one time. So this shows also that a person that is not able to fast and has to feed. Why was Anas feeding? Why? Why was he feeding instead of fasting? Why was Anas feeding instead of fasting? Hassan. Why was it's in the book, Akhi? I'm not asking nothing that is outside the book. Why was Anas feeding instead of fasting? Aba Ibrahim. Ahsanta. Look at the headliner. What is Iqra al here? In regard to the person that is, the woman that is pregnant, or the person that is sick, and it enters ma yajibu ala shaykh al-kabir, what is incumbent, what is an obligation upon a old age person, wal marid alladhi la yurja buri'uh, that a person that is of an old age, or a sick person that there is no hope for him being cured. So Anas radiyallahu anhu, as we mentioned, he could not fast. So therefore he was what? أنه ضعف عن الصوم.